And welcome back. My first guest is Barbara Chuck from the Lions Club. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here. Maybe for the benefit of our viewers, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the community groups that you're involved with. You're deeply involved with the Lions Club, the Nanuet Lions, and with the local district. You had been district governor, I think, for involved with the Lions in the area, which is several counties. So we'll speak about the Lions Club at length. But before we get to that, let's talk about your yourself. Maybe you can give our viewers just a little bit of a bio of yourself, where you're from, and how long you've lived in the area.
Okay. Well, I was born in Good Sam, and I lived very briefly in Ramapo, but moved to Clarkstown. I spent most of my life in Clarkstown. I was pretty much born and raised in Clarkstown. I attended St. Anthony's School and graduated from St. Anthony's, went to Clarkstown South, and from there I went to St. Thomas Aquinas College. And I did a very long stint in Girl Scouting for the entire Rockland County area. And I started as a junior and went all the way to assistant leader and enjoyed that thoroughly. And for a while I was kind of just missing service and stuff after being a leader. And eventually I joined the local Lions chapter of Nanuet and done a lot.
And so how long have you been a member of the Lions Club?
Well, this September I'll be 10 years.
Wow.
And it's been a long, very, very long time, but I started as just a regular member, and I grew with the organization.
Great. You're also involved, I think, in the Nanuet Chamber as well,
Yes.
And do some volunteer work with the Chamber as well. Let's speak a little bit just about the Lions. So for a novice, for somebody that's unfamiliar with the Lions, what's the mission and the goals of the Lions Club International?
Okay. Well, pretty much the Lions started back in 1917. We were established back then in I believe it's 24. We were charged with becoming the Knights of the Blind by Helen Keller. And really the cause of the Lion was to get involved and help with people with visual or hearing needs. And it's grown over the years. It's very, very, very large now. We're actually the largest all-volunteer organization in the world now. Mm-hmm. And so their mission is to we serve. Our whole goal is to have a Lions Club in every community. We're known as second responders for major disaster, and we do a lot of different things, from environmental tasks, food drives, you name it.
Okay. And you yourself are a person that has a visual impairment as well, so it's obviously it's probably an even more personal connection for you as a Lion as well, I would imagine. Absolutely. So let's speak a little bit about the Nanuet Lions, and you were involved in, I guess, founding the Nanuet Lions Club? Well,
I wasn't really founding. I came aboard, it was on the verge of closing. The Nanuet Lions actually started May 26, 1959, and when I joined there was only 4 people. And you know, when you have 4 people, it's really hard to do a lot. But within a year, we went from 4 to 40. And we grew very fast, and now I think we're actually getting closer to 50. And at one point we were big. We separated into 2 different clubs, and which we have the Rockland Regional Lions Club, and we really work well together, and we work with a lot of the other clubs throughout Rockland.
Right. So let's speak about some of the things that the Nanuet Lions are involved with. So I know that you organize some food drives and some fundraisers. Maybe you could speak about those.
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that we're known for is our food drives. We do about 40 a year. And we try and help any food pantry from people to bridges. We help even some of the local smaller pantries within churches. We do food giveaways for veterans also that we help. You know, when we have the excess, we try and share everywhere. But we do predominantly, mostly the Clarkstown area.
Okay, and the food drives, where are they kind of held typically?
We do our food drives in a lot of the different supermarkets. There's quite a few. Most of them are done at either ShopRite, Stop and Shop. We do some in DeChico's, and you know, wherever they want us, we go.
And there's a real generosity amongst the residents in our community, because I know that you'll collect hundreds of pounds of food at each one of those events and donations that you're able to kind of contribute to the various food pantries, as you said, People to People, Bridges, I think Touch, and some of the other groups as well. So it's really an impressive work that you do, and it shows the real generosity of the people of our town. And as you're doing these food drives, it always amazes me. You know, you're out there in a lot of different types of weather. It could be rainy, it could be cold, but the need is still there, and you're doing something to try and raise awareness and rely on people's generosity to be able to assist some of these wonderful not-for-profits. So what gave you the idea to kind of start food drives at the supermarkets? Well,
a lot of it was, I do talk frequently to Diane Sarator and People to People, and I had an office in a church, in like a fellowship area of a church, and we would see people come in constantly that, you know, needed food, and you know, we would tell them, well, there's People to People, and in one instance we had a gentleman who went there, and he didn't have paperwork even to, you know, get established in that, and that started the process where I met Diane. And over the years, when I first started there, I think they were serving maybe 200 to 300 families, and now it's thousands. Right. So, you know, the need is there, and you know, we also want to be out in the public so people see what we do, because it's not just food drives.
Right. And let's talk about some of the other events that you're involved with as well at the Nanuet Lions. So you do the food drives, but you also have several other fundraisers and some other community events. Do you want to speak to some of those or some of the upcoming things that you have moving ahead?
Absolutely. We do a lot with children. One of the biggest things we actually did last night, we raised a couple of $100. We do an eyeglass replacement program where if insurance will not pay for children's eyewear, whether it's because of they don't have a replacement or they just don't have insurance, we buy the glasses for them, you know, at a reasonable rate, and you know, we try to help there. We are in contact with a lot of the school nurses throughout Rockland, so whenever there's a need, we try to address that. And we had a great event at Five Guys last night, and we're actually going to do it again on March 6th from 4 to 10. We're going to be at Five Guys again, trying to raise money for Bridges to help their food pantry out as well. Mm-hmm. So, but
well, that's great. So I know that you know, I stopped by your event at Five Guys just to make a contribution to show my support. You know, and that's you know, raising some funds to help one of the local pantries. So just great job on that. In the couple of minutes we have left, let's talk a little bit about just the Lions Club District, because I know that you you had served as past district as the district governor in the past, I guess in 2013, 2014.
Yes.
And what does the local Lions District encompass? How many clubs? How many counties?
Well, back then I think I only had 29, and now we're up to 39 clubs. We serve Putnam County, all of Rockland County, and northern Westchester. So pretty much anything north of the Thruway is my territory. And I did serve in 2013, 2014, and it was one of the greatest years of my life. It truly was. Meeting people throughout the state, as well as in our district and, you know, our local municipality. You really get a good feel for all the different types of people that we have in New York.
Wow. And so what goes into being the governor or district governor for a Lions Club?
Well, when you're district governor, you have to meet with all the different clubs, and you serve as the liaison between the international organization and the district itself. So as the international president and the board establish different policies and that, we are basically, you know, we pass it to the clubs and help them implement. We're like the trainers and advisors to the clubs, but the clubs are separate businesses amongst themselves.
Okay. And so each club is involved in different projects, and as the district governor, you would assist in providing support, I would imagine, for each of the clubs, and make sure that they're continuing with the mission of Lions International, and make sure that they're meeting their benchmarks and goals for the current year. And every year, the administration of each club turns over, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So, so I would assume you were president of your Lions Club as well at some point?
Mm-hmm. Initially, I started as just a regular member, and within 3 months, I became the member chair. And then we went, like I said, from the 4 to 40, and within 6 months, I was voted in as president. I served as president for 2 years, and during my second year as president, I served under another district governor, Michael Bryson from Blauvelt, and I served as a zone chair for him. And after that, they said, hey, would you like to become the second vice governor? And I actually was the first second vice governor ever for our district. They implemented that, and then you know, I went up the ranks, and I serve now as a past district governor. I also serve as what's called a global membership team coordinator, and it is my job to travel throughout the district to open new clubs, whether it's a full club or a branch club, and get members for existing clubs that need help.
Well, that's great. So, Barbara, as we finish up, how do folks get in contact with you if they want to learn more about the Lions or they want to volunteer or support some of your events? How would they get in contact with you?
Okay, well, probably the best way is through our website, www.lionsclubs.org. You can go to the club locator and put in your zip code and find a club closer, to you. But they can also reach us online. If you you can just Google it, and our local club information will pop up. So, but also I can be reached at almost any of our post offices. We have our eyeglass recycling boxes, and there's contact information on them.
So if folks want to support the Lions, they can take old pairs of eyeglasses, and rather than discarding them, where they could be thrown out, they can actually be recycled for individuals with sight impairment. The Lions Club does that. That's another way in which they can get in contact, is also by dropping a note in one of those boxes at at any of the post offices in Clarkstown. Well, Barbara, thank you again for being such a wonderful guest, and thank you for your service to our community and your wonderful service with all of our not-for-profits, with the food drives and everything that you've done. And we wish you much success as you continue with your leadership and your service, both on the district level, the zone level, and on the local level as well.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for our next guest, Jeremy Honey, a Vietnam veteran and U.S. Army veteran.